Hey, it's Don. Today I just wanted to go over a few topics. We're going to do a four-parter here. I'm going to talk a little bit about time invested, and we're going to lead that into the second part, which is going to show you a few items and insider, I guess, BOLO for some sheet music information. So I find sheet music everywhere, and I do mean everywhere. You see, I got a ton of it for free. We just started the list, the first like 150 or 160 of them. One of my employees did a bunch in one day in a 7-hour time frame, and we've sold some. So I'm going to show you exactly about that, and we'll talk about that a little while into one segment right into the next. So let's hop over to the screen. We're going to cut me off, and we're going to go straight into the content. Okay, so here we are. Again, my store, and I've talked about this before. I list a whole bunch of things, and every day we list, there'll be 3 to 5% of it will sell. Sheet music's a little slower than some categories because there's not as many collectors of sheet music as there would be on some other item. So it's usually about 3% on average for sheet music to sell the very first day it went up. So I had Evan, a new employee, and I usually show them how to do photographs first, and then I'll have them list a bunch of stuff where they only have to change a few things. They're not changing categories. So the first day that he listed Evan, new employee, he did just sheet music, where all he has to do is take the information, the title of it, I'll write down the dates for them and a price, and then they'll edit the photos and list them one by one. Now, he's going to be slower than other folks, so he's new, so I've got a little extra time. I think literally 6 or 7 hours total. This is one of his shifts here to do these. So on average, I got around $70 or so into listing these, which may seem like a bit of money investment into labor, but same day, what sold the very first day, this one $57.50 straight off. No question, no argument, no nothing on the price, just $57.50. Second one from the exact same line, $27.50. Same day, same person bought this one here as well, $135 for 7 sheets. So this is 7 of them I just lumped together and sold $135. Here's a Yiddish one, $37.50. And then By the Light of the Silvery Moon, which always sells for us, $14.50. Not a huge ton of money here. Now, obviously, it's not a ton of money. This is just the first day they're up, though. I got a return from his hours of $272. So again, he listed 7 hours worth of items. Same thing, easy to list, something to learn. So I trained him. He learned how to list them. He's messed with the photos now. He's, producing money for me at this point. This is just his first day in doing this. The photographs are some of the ones that he actually took. So again, it makes for a set pattern to do this when I have somebody working for me. Now, this doesn't mean, I got to go have labor or anything else for everybody, but I've got so much stuff. Just in sheet music, I've got a ton here right now. You saw me bring home 3,000. I have probably 2,000 or 3,000 besides that I hand-picked over a length of time. So I've roughly got like 5,000 sheets of sheet music to go through. So the other sheet musics that I got through various sources, I've sold a couple here and there, and I've got all my money back. So these are all just leftovers that I said I would get to whenever I had the chance. So I've got somebody new, and this is what they're doing. So 160 or so were listed in that 7-hour or 6-hour time frame, and out of that I've sold 272, and I've got that many up. Now the second day I sold a couple as well, so right off the bat I'm like 325 return on that. And again, I didn't pay nothing for any of these I'm showing you right here because they came in that big lot that you saw me pick up at the campus there in Michigan. So they were free, thousands of them for free. Now that doesn't always happen, but usually I don't pay much for sheet musics. But the point is, if you spend the time to list it, not only did I get my money back out of the item's gas or anything else I could imagine, I got my money out of my labor, and I still have about 160 different listings left to sell. Now again, sheet music's going to take a little while. We sold a couple the second day. Now we're on the third day. Not much is going on because it's holiday tomorrow, so this might be a little slow for a few days, but then boom, I'll be selling some more. I don't have to sell hardly any to keep these running without worrying about them at all. They're all decent. They're all earlier. I picked through every single one that I listed and did very, very well in them. Now, one thing to look at when I'm talking about sheet music, and I tell you, certain performers do very well. The one name I always look for is Irving Berlin. Irving Berlin is the one that sells it. Now, he was new, so this one, he didn't put Irving Berlin in there, unfortunately. This one here has it. Now, stop, look, listen. This is the same basic thing right here. So anybody who knows Irving Berlin would know that, I would say, either way. But Irving Berlin would be a very good inside bolo when you're looking for sheet music. Now, you want the large format, the large size. I think they're like 11 by 14 or so. Once you've seen a few, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Usually they're like the teens, like 1918 or before. There is a date. You can look up the date when they switch. I know before World War II that they switched over for paper conservation as well to smaller size sheet music. So these large ones were phased out. So if you see the large format and has Irving Berlin and it's a quarter or something, I usually would take a chance on it. Now, not everyone's going to be worth some money, but him in general is somebody I look for. You've got a better chance on selling some of his early stuff than a lot of other people. So any one of his that I could get, I usually do grab. Now, there was about 150 of his in this lot from the university, so that's where I centered on putting my time into having those listed first, because I'll get a quicker return on my investment, and, you know, I get my money back right away for labor and the whole works. As I said, $272 worth sold. Let's take off 15% of that for fees, and we're around $230 minus my $70 into listing it. So now we're up at $160 basic profit. I can deduct $20 for gas. Now I have $140 still that I've turned on the very first day he did anything, and that removes my fees, my labor, and my total costs into the item. So literally I made $160 on listing just one whole day of somebody listing. Now, if I do this with 2 or 3 different lots of stuff, or I have 3 or 4 people listing in the same day, you could imagine that that number goes up drastically. So if I can sell $270 worth of sheet music, $270 worth of some other item, and so on, you know, that's where you get your days built up on what you're selling, and you know, how you get a bigger inventory. This is how I propagate my inventory, by increasing the amount of items I have up. Yeah, my fees do go up, but it's a nickel per listing, basically, anything over the first 10,000. So a nickel a month is what I pay. You have to sell a bunch to be able to account for that difference. Now, if you just wanted to keep 10,000 listings in a store and have 2 anchor stores, you know, that's a good philosophy as well, too. 2 anchor stores will save you the listing. 3 anchor stores, 4 anchor stores. We've got several stores, as I said. I know other people who have 3 and 4 anchor stores that do it just for a money-saving thing, and they'll try to keep like-minded stuff together in the same store. That way it draws people in. Again, I've talked about this before. You have to have some sort of niche and a bunch of the same things up to sell multiple items. Now, if I bought one random sheet music and it was this set here, I would only sell the one. I wouldn't be selling any extras. So I just happen to have a bunch from Irving Berlin from the same stage comedy, which is Stop, Look, Listen. Now, it doesn't just have to be this. I've sold many other Irving Berlins in the past without issue. Another one out of these lots would be Yiddish. Anything Jewish related do sell very, very well in the sheet music ones. Now, again, I picked through what I was going to sell and only listed the better ones that I felt I could get a return on my investment. You're going to see Irving Berlin, it just has Irving, but it's basically Irving Berlin, Irving Berlin, Irving Berlin. You're going to see some more movement. So if I keep going back, you're going to see some of these sell. International Rag, anything that said rag, I probably list right off the bat. Someone who's famous on the cover, I would usually list, like a very well-known jazz performing group or something along that line would list. Anything with cupids or angels or fairies, I would list too in sheet music. Now, I use Terapeak for most of the research, or my own personal experience from selling these. And just like I do for postcards or anything else, I guesstimate prices based on similar ones. Now, you're not always going to be right. There is no definitive answer for sheet music, because one single sheet can have 20 different versions that look identical other than the artist who's performing it on it. Now here's an example here. This one's got Margie Carson, and here's another version, identical other than the photo, and it's Bob Cosser. So that's part of why sheet music is very hard to price, and I just go by guesstimates based on other sheets similarly. So again, when I look up sheet music, I'm looking up the name of it and the actual performer sometimes that's on the cover. Now, same sheet, same everything, but several different performers would have done it. Now, there's Irving Berlin that have, like, as I said, 20 different versions of the same one. They'll look identical other than that little photo in the corner there. Now, the price could be drastically different. One person displayed on one of these sheets of sheet music could be very scarce on anything. It could demand hundreds of dollars, while one with just an average day performer of the day might not be worth anything hardly. So I take a chance on it. I don't mind spending a nickel. I usually will run sheet musics for like 6 months to a year without touching them. And then at that point, I'll usually do like a 35% sale. And then maybe in another couple months, I'll come back in and do half off. And then after that, I might run them to an auction, or I'll just let them sit at half off until they sell. That is another way that I get rid of some of these. And now, as I've said before in the past, when I start listing them, I will list the good ones first to get all my money back. That's what I want. I want my money back right away. So price-wise is a gambit on some of these. I usually, if I don't know, I'll just put a decent price, $34.50, on these large formats here. Now again, you probably don't know sheet music very well. Terapeak is probably the best outlet or avenue to look up sheet music. And I'm just going to, let's show you real quick, in fact, while we're right here. Let's go up to Research and open up Terapeak. And we're going to come over here. And this is what I do for Terapeak every time I'm looking up something like this. Type in sheet music first. I will change this to 365. Let's just go sheet music, and let's just pick Irving Berlin real quick. Oops, let me spell it right. Okay, so Irving Berlin. We're going to search 365 days. And then we're going to come down here too, and let's see if we can't weasel this down to musical instruments, gear, which is where sheet music is. And then we're going to go down to sheet music. That will eliminate it down to a reasonable number. Then we're going to search by average sold first. Just to show you, Irving Berlin is one of the ones that sells for some of the best money for standard sheet music. This is something most people miss. Now again, the new ones I can't show you because of Terapeak wanting to charge you for more service. Now this one here should be visible, so if I really wanted to, I could go into eBay and look at ended listings. It doesn't matter. On sheet music, I don't really have to worry about that, but you can see Irving Berlin is fairly high on some of these. That's why I say Irving Berlin has a decent chance on doing well. Now some titles in here, you'll see Coconut Grove. That's where the location was that this was performed, from what I would say. He did Ragtime as well, and you can see some higher priced ones on here. In fact, here's the one I just sold right here. Here's mine, 135. And now I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, the 5th highest one for the entire year selling Irving Berlin I just sold. So, you know, I just picked these up out of random. They were picked through massively by the university and given to tons of different people for like 6 months or longer. So I still scored out on just junk, basically, that was going to be discarded. Now, I walk up on tubs of stuff, as I said, so you're going to find sheet music. You can always put them together in a big lot. Now, here's a big lot right here, 125, roughly $1. They used Irving Berlin to advertise them, 125 bucks. Free shipping, so you got to say that many sheet music's probably going to be about $5 shipped medium mail. So they, you know, have 120 bucks back out of it. So just look at these sometime when you want to research. If you have a bunch from the same movie or the same play or whatever the case may be, like 7 that look identical, those are always better to put in a lot, in my personal opinion. Individually, they may not sell, or just the good one will sell real quickly, and then you'll be stuck with the rest of them. So I stick like ones, like the one I show you. Where is it? Let's see here, this one here. Now again, they're all the same. Just look at the very top. You'll see Everything in America is Ragtime, Sailor Song, Blow Your Horn, and Father Wanted Me to Learn a Trade, Teach Me How to Love. Now again, these are all songs from this. So take off a little bit, stop, look, listen, and then that's back to the original one I just said. So this is the key on these things here. Someone's going to instantly say, wow, that's good to have the whole set there. Now, I'm missing a few from this set also, so there would have been more to this set. I think maybe 10 songs to an average one. But Irving Berlin always seems to sell for us. And you can see there's not a fortune in some of them, but 45, 50 bucks a pop, you're talking something that I can get for $1 or less any day of the week. If I wanted to go out and get sheet music, I could do it right this very second. It's even in the evening. The thrift stores, or antique stores, I should say, around here are open till 9. There's one open, a place I can get sheet music any day of the week up till 9 o'clock at night. And in the morning, probably around 9 o'clock, I could start picking up sheet music. And I could just drive around and just buy sheet music if I wanted to dig into it. Now, again, I look up every single sheet that we get before it goes up. So all of that 160 or so that Evan listed for me were all looked up by me myself. Every one of those. So while he's listing some, I'm just looking up his next batch to do. It took about, say, an hour or so, I think, an hour and 20 minutes maybe, to look up. Roughly 200 is what I started with. So it's not a terrible amount of time. It's my time. So yeah, you could say I could deduct, from the 140, 160 bucks I made, some of my time from that. But time is what I have of, and it's not a big ordeal. It's being listed. I'm doing other stuff as I look it up. I'm answering questions, making sure he's listing. So that's the key to this. Sheet music is a good, viable one. And I know if people have looked in and said, hey, this doesn't sell that well, this, that, and the other. Yeah, most sheet music doesn't, but you've got to, just like any other topic or area, you have to dig into it a little bit. Now, I'll bet you one of the other sheets that will sell, and I'll be the highest selling one of that specific sheet. Just some random one. That's why I say I'm number 5 out of all of Irving Berlin for the entire year. Mine falls in number 5. Now, I've got other Irving Berlins, so, and I haven't even listed anywhere near all the Irving Berlins or any of them sheet music hardly at all. Out of 2,000 some odd just from the university, this is all I have up right now. Again, I've got a, 90-day plan, 6-month plan, even a year plan on when we list things. I don't rush to list things. I get my money back, and then I'll worry about it. But the sheet music I'm going to hammer right now. Just to get a whole bunch up and get some traction on it. It'll draw some people in, I guarantee it. If I list, say, 600 or 700 individual lots of sheet music, it's going to be drawing anybody into sheet music probably to my store. So usually what happens too, when I list a whole bunch in one niche, I'll sell other items tied to these new ones. They'll be brought into my store by the new items, and they'll purchase some of the old items too, just to save postage, and didn't realize I had it. Now, sheet music wise, I think maybe I have like 480 up. That's it right this moment. So you're going to see me hammering those. I'll probably devote 2 people's labor for a week or so and try to get close to 1,000 sheet musics up. And we'll probably see some good dollar movement on it. I wouldn't doubt to see at least $1,000 return from the whatever month it ends up. I list all of these, and if it's through this month, that's fine. If not, you'll probably see 1,000 plus added to my sales just from selling sheet music. Again, 1 day of listing, 160 items, 7 hours, $160 after everything is said and done. Basically, $272 is what's sold, total amount with fees and everything still included. So again, $272 is what's sold. 7 hours, $70 invested, $200 back basically, minus fees. So again, 160-ish we'll say is the number. 140 minus gas, and whatever the case may be, my money's all back and I've made a profit. And these are going to keep selling. So you got Irving Berlin is something to always look for, and rag. In fact, let's type in rag over here. Let's just show you rag. Rag is one of the best ones to find. There's a ton of rags that aren't worth a lot. There are ragtime music that are on small modern day formats that still hold a value. Rag in general does very, very well. So the most expensive rag is $907. And then you'll see a bunch in the $400 and $300 range for individual ones right here. Now, another thing to look for in sheet music, rag you should know, Irving Berlin, is Paul. E.T. Paul is the name, but I think we should be able to show you just with Paul. Now, before I even look down and look at the price for the highest sold, $3,500. E.T. Paul has some of the most elaborate covers, full color scenes you will ever see. there's value in sheet music. So I hear people tell me sheet music just isn't that good. I sell sheet music very well and religiously. Not a fortune worth, but I pay for everything I list. I never list throughout a month and not make a good profit on them. Every month my fees are paid for and I make profit, a good profit, over and above the entire fee to list every single sheet music I have up in the store. So I'm not saying you're going to make a living on sheet music. I'm not saying you're going to make a fortune, but it will definitely increase your overall intake if you're buying good, decent sheet music. So again, key ones there. There's other names, of course. Foxtrot carries over from the records to sheet music, so ones that say Foxtrot are jazz for the most part also. So just take that into thought when you're doing this as well. So as you can see, E.T. Paul is another one. In fact, let's open up one. Wow, that's not a good example. Let's see if we can find one E.T. Paul with a nice cover. Let's look at this one. E.T. Paul are usually very graphic, and they look like they should be worthwhile. That's not a good example either. Let's look down farther and see if we can... Maybe this one will be good. Like, he does Ben-Hur. He's got a Ben-Hur sheet, and it's just fabulously done. In fact, here's one, Napoleon's Last Charge. That's another one you should look up, and look up the original one. Some of those are just awesome. This isn't super. Let's see if it'll let me look at it close up. There we go. E.T. Paul are just some of the best quality graphics I have seen. This, they should have probably put Halloween in the title. Yeah, I would have put Halloween. Witches, devils, Halloween. I would have gotten rid of 5-color lithograph, sheet music at the end. I would have taken out 5-color lithograph and put Halloween, devils, and this one would have probably done a little better. Stuff like this is what I love in sheet music. The artwork on it's what sells some of them. So E.T. Paul is another name that you should look for. Now we're going to hop into stamps now for a few minutes as well, and I'm going to cover some stamp issues that should do you very well. So let's hop over to a different screen here.